Hey, good evening. It's Thursday, June 29th. Thanks so much for being here tonight on Everyday Talk 24/7. Welcome. Tomorrow, just a quick reminder, Q&A Friday. Send in the questions. We've got some great ones already, so we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts and so much appreciate this Q&A session that we have roughly every 2 weeks. Tonight, I want to talk about respect for children. This is a balance for some of the things we've been talking about, how ministry, false prophets use the concept of ministry to cause us to lead our children astray. But let's look at the positive impact. God wants us to have respect for our children because He's given it to them, because of the mission that He's given them. Psalm 8 is just a phenomenal place to begin this discussion. And I hope that we'll have lots of discussions about this because it's so important. David says, "O Lord, how majestic is your name throughout all the earth." And then he says, "From the mouths of infants and nursing babies, you have established a stronghold." Or when Jesus quotes this passage, he says, "You have ordained praise on account of your adversaries in order to silence the enemy and the avenger." Children, they have that God-given, ordained role, purpose to talk of the praises of God. And that's exactly what Jesus says in Matthew 21, when he comes in to Jerusalem riding on the donkey. How is he proclaimed as the great leader? By the voice of children. This outraged the establishment, the religious leaders. But Jesus said that God has ordained praise to come from these little ones. What's the nature of this? Well, we read a little bit further down in Psalm 8, verses 5 to 8, where Genesis 1:26 to 28, the creation mandate, what we're to be about His people, is quoted. This is just the passage is just re-quoted in poetic language. You have made him, to response to the question that David asked, what is man? And speaking of man as men and women, humans, you have made him a little less than God and crowned him with honor and glory. This is how we need to view our children, as being crowned with honor and glory. I'm not denying the fact that they're born in sin. I'm not denying the fact they need to be redeemed. This doesn't diminish the fact that they were made and crowned with honor and glory. You have made him ruler over the works of your hands. You put everything under his feet. All the sheep and the oxen, as well as the animals in the wild, the birds of the sky and the fish of the sea, pass through the currents of the seas. This is what men, people, women, children are called to do by God. This is the role that children have. To be raised to occupy the world for the glory of God. That's the general description. Psalm 139 gives us a specific way to value each child and respect each child. Psalm 139 verses 13 through 16. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body. This is the unique wonder of each child, each beautiful individual child. You have made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. We get scared about complexity. We want uniformity. That's how the Gothards and the Duggars and the people that want to shape your children of this world, they don't treat them as wonderfully complex. Their complexity is a cause of frustration instead of being a cause of awe and wonder. You have made me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in the utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. This is just mind-blowing. Children, made in the image of God, to carry forth the created order and the mandate of God, each one, and then each child specifically, is created by God to be wonderfully complex, so they can have their part in bringing honor to God. Yes, we should be respecting them and not trying to squash the wonderful complexity that God has made. Too much of our education is about making sure that we don't have complexity. That wonderful complexity is viewed as nonconformity. Children have to learn a certain way and do a certain thing and accomplish certain goals without respect to the way that God has made them. Children, boys, girls, are to be honored with respect. They must not be processed, molded, and programmed to follow man-made rules, the rules that God despises. We must value children for what God has made them to be. If we want to be done with the Duggars and the Gothards and educators who don't value them as God sees them, we've got to see children, our boys, our girls, with respect, and find out what is that wonderfully complex thing that God has made this little child to be. Instead of running from the wonderful complexity, we need to welcome it and help them to be that very special person who will bring honor and praise to God with their lives. This is such a mind-blowing key concept. We must value and respect our children for the beautiful people that God has made them to be as we present the gospel to them. Give me some thoughts and feedback. I'd love to hear it. And again, hope we have some comments for tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here, and it's such an honor and blessing to be with you. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Thank you for watching. May God richly bless you as you seek to live for His glory.